The Daily Jaws 50th Anniversary interview series is a collection of amazing conversations exploring the legacy of Steven Spielberg's screen adaptation of Jaws through the eyes of the fans. We'll be talking to famous fans, shark experts, people whose lives have been changed by the movie, and those that were there that helped to make the film. Today's episode has been made possible by Stern Pinball, the world's largest designer and manufacturer of arcade-quality pinball games. But we'll be telling you more about them later. We'll also be telling you about two amazing organisations that are very close to our hearts. Anyway, that's enough from me. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. "50 years ago, one movie kept people out of the water and changed an industry forever. Today, we explore the legacy of Jaws and Robert Shaw in a special 50th anniversary interview with his son, Ian Shaw. Welcome, Ian.
Thank you.
So I think we need to take a moment just to recap what's happening this year with the 50th anniversary. We're sat here in a beautiful theatre aboard the replica of the Orca, the set that your dad was filming on just over 50 years ago. You're using this set to perform a play that you've co-written and are starring in, playing your dad, on the 50th anniversary of Steven Spielberg's screen adaptation of Jaws. That's quite a journey.
Yes, it's a very lovely thing to be here. It was a sliding doors moment for me, I think, in my life at the beginning of this. So it's very gratifying to be here now. Yeah.
I was thinking about this conversation, obviously, for the last sort of few weeks, and it seems to me you've probably had the most unique Jaws journey of anybody, whether it's myself as a fan, the people who've made the movie. When I say the word Jaws to you, what comes to mind? What's the immediate sort of thoughts and emotions?
I don't know. I suppose first and foremost, I always associated that word with my dad, and I was proud that he'd been a part of it.
What do you think your dad would make of this, the fact that we're celebrating this movie 50 years later?
I think first he would be shocked that we would be celebrating Jaws at all, although he was very pleasantly surprised that it was a big hit. But, the play, it wouldn't exist without him having passed away for a start. So, I just don't know what he would think of it.
Mm. Beyond Jaws, what do you think your dad's legacy is?
He burned very brightly and very uniquely, I think. And so you mentioned I'm in a unique position. I am in a slightly unique position. I've talked to a lot of, ordinary people who have expressed, lots and lots of affection, obviously for Jaws, but obviously my dad as well. And it's really appreciated, It's genuine. Mm. It's love. And, I guess I feel incredibly grateful to be, working in a job, where you get to do something which is not only fun most of the time, but that means something to people, however small, however insignificant. It does have some meaning when it works.
Mm. Do you think that when you use that word meaning, that Jaws means different things to different people, or do you think there's been a consistent meaning in terms of the fan interactions that you've had? Has there been a consistent thing there for people?
That's an interesting question. I think it does mean different things to different people on one level. But as a piece of entertainment, it kind of grips you, doesn't it? It's like a roller coaster. It pulls you along. So I think we all have a sort of shared experience to some extent.
Absolutely. In terms of your shared experience, do you have any favourite moments from the movie?
There are lots, aren't there? Like all amazing films, it's almost endlessly quotable. I don't know, it varies. Because then I see it again and I like a different bit. So I'm almost reluctant to say now. I have answered that question. I've come out with various bits, but I'm not. I'm going to resist the temptation.
Very wise, very wise. In terms of the actual movie itself, I mean, where do you think it stands? Because I think the last time we spoke, we were talking about just looking at Jaws as cinephiles. You know, we're both movie fans, and for me, Jaws was the movie that got me into movies. It's not very often we sit here talking about movies being spoken about 50 years after they've come out. So where do you think Jaws kind of sits in the cinematic landscape in terms of the classics?
Well, I mean, I think it's absolutely up there, isn't it? You know, and it changed cinema. And I think it was ahead of its time. They would award it, you know, gongs now. But at the time, I think they had a sort of an old-fashioned snobbery towards this sort of thing. But yeah, it's rightly. I mean, I think it's even grown with age. Actually, it really holds up because I saw it on the big screen in 2021, and so that's another layer. And it works so beautifully on the big screen. And I mean, it is the 50th year, so I haven't seen anywhere, but I haven't been searching that's been showing it on the big screen. But I'm assuming when we get to June or something that there will be big screen events. Maybe you can answer that for me.
Yeah, there are. There are definitely going to be some screenings, which is great. But just to pick up on your point around Jaws as a movie that holds up, a few years ago it came out in IMAX and in 3D, and the 3D restoration was incredible. I was very worried, but it was amazing. But when I would tell you what, when as technology gets better and better, I mean, it's not going to stop, is it? So that you're going to be in a position where you're going to have virtual reality Jaws, where you can watch the film from any angle. And then there'll be, a system whereby you can play a part in Jaws. Yeah.
God,
that's such a great idea, like having a virtual fighting chair.
All of the rest of them around you, but you're playing, the mayor.
God, that's an amazing thought. Universal, if you're listening, please listen to this.
There's a lot of money to be made.
During the course of making the show, writing the show, performing the show, have you made any more or new discoveries about Jaws or your father?
I have a personal insight, a theory that I had the last time I watched Jaws, which I don't know if anybody's mentioned, which was that in the Indianapolis speech, when he talks about Herbie Robinson, the baseball player, I always imagined, well, I haven't always imagined, I recently imagined that Quint salvaged his baseball bat, that Herbie Robinson had jumped overboard with his bat, as all great baseball players do. They keep their bats with them, and I think it would be quite a useful thing to fend the sharks off with. That Quint retrieves the bat and cuts off the last third of it, and that is the priest that he smashes the radio with. Has that theory come to you?
That's the first time I'm hearing that theory. I really like that.
So, it's fun. You have your little sort of theories about things when you watch things enough. And, I've happily watched that film many, many times, probably not as many times as you.
Oh, I don't know.
But, and the other thing I thought was very interesting was I was reading about Mike Chapman and Bill Butler in their preparation for the film. They were looking at Edward Hopper and Andrew Wyeth paintings, those sort of American pastoral, non-urban, nostalgic sort of havens for amity. And I thought that was really interesting. That plays into our sort of our minds, that the sort of white picket fence innocence of, it's a sort of lost time almost.
Yeah. It's so interesting when people sort of, I don't want to say that they overdiagnose or pick apart movies or things, but when you start to look at Jaws as just a perfect mesh of incredible craft work all coming together. Everyone seems to be at the top of their game, whether it's the music, the writing, the directing, the script, whatever it is. It's just incredible. And then to hear you talking about, those choices, it helps us explain and understand what an incredible experience Jaws is just from a cinematic point of view, but why we are still talking about it sort of 50 years later. I think that plays a big part in it. Hey guys, it's Ross. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the series. I just wanted to take a moment to tell you a little bit about some of the organisations that we've been working with that help make this episode possible. Stern Pinball, the oldest and largest designer and manufacturer in arcade quality pinball games. Here is their Jaws game.
Fire the harpoon! Shoot! Fast fish.
Well, nothing's easy, is it?
This shark will eat anything.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Pretty cool, huh? Well, Stern don't only make pinball machines, they've also made a generous donation to the two organisations that we're spotlighting throughout the series. Minorities in Shark Sciences, or MISS for short, a non-profit founded in 2020 that champions diversity in shark, ray and marine sciences. MISS creates equitable opportunities for historically underrepresented communities through hands-on programs and believes that diverse scientists bring diverse ideas, driving the innovation essential for ocean conservation. Representation matters, and MISS is making sure the next generation sees a place for themselves in marine biology. Learn more and support their mission at missalesmo.org. The mission of the Tourettes Association of America is to provide help and hope to those affected by Tourette syndrome, tic disorders, and associated conditions through awareness, research, and support. It's the only national organisation serving the community and works to raise awareness, advance research, and provide ongoing support to patients and families impacted by Tourette syndrome and tic disorders. To this end, the Tourettes Association of America directs a network of 31 chapters, 83 support groups, and recognises 18 centres of excellence across the country. It's a non-profit organisation and is extremely close to the heart of not just Jeffrey Kramer, but also his family. Guys, thanks for listening. Let's get back to the conversation. From a filmmaking point of view, or from just an entertainment point of view, do you think there's any particular aspect of Jaws that stands out from the craft? Do you think it's the music, the direction, the cinematography, or do you think it's just a blend of all of these incredible people coming together?
I think it is the latter. I mean, I think that it was so close to being a disaster for various reasons beyond their control, not least of which, the sea. But what a group of people. I mean, without question, they were a brilliant group of people. And a brilliant group of people can still fail, because things are beyond your control, or you can just be unlucky, and that's the nature of art. It can be a bit random. But, out of the ashes of what it felt like on the set, I think for the first couple of months, they, produced something that's going to stand the test of time for another 50 years, I'm sure, and more, I don't know. But, I mean, even to the point where they were screening it, the producers were still nervous about what they had. They thought that the shark might make people laugh. So they didn't quite know, even to the point of release,
Yeah. And I think that's testament to really putting everything on the line as a creator, storyteller, filmmaker. We don't know if this is going to work. We think we might have something, but we'll let the audience decide. And
well, that's what William Goldman says in movies, nobody knows anything, They think they know. I mean, if they knew, and this is the other thing with artificial intelligence and everything else like that I think executives are beginning to think, we've got this machine that can tell us what's going to work. It's not going to work that way. It's just not that easy.
There was a word you mentioned previously, preparation. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the preparation you might have for when you actually come out on stage to play your dad. Is it different to anything you've done before, or do you treat it just as the same? And is there any particular sort of ritual routine maybe that you go through to prepare?
It's sort of the same. I mean, I feel confident in it, in that I feel that I share his blood. So we're sort of, you know, I feel like I'm already halfway there because I look like him and I can sound like him and I understand the way he thinks. A lot of what he thinks I think myself, you know. So it feels natural, if a little weird the first few times. I do have little tics and habits to get into his shoes, and also for Quint, because there's sort of two characters you're thinking about, even though Quint's just very briefly. But there's a little bit of Robert and Quint as well. I mean, a lot of Robert and Quint, but obviously not the psychopathic side. So that's interesting too.
Which parts of Robert do you see in Quint?
There's a sort of wickedness, a humour, a dark humour, a naughtiness in Quint, which is obviously taken to extremes. A fearlessness they both have, I think. Yeah. The singing Robert brought to the film in improvisation, you know, the Spanish ladies and Show Me the Way to Go Home. Yeah. There's bits because I remember as a kid he'd be singing Show Me the Way to Go Home since I was old enough to, you know, understand what he was saying to me.
Did you ever watch the movie with your dad, or get the chance to watch it with him?
Yes, I mean, I watched it, and I think the first time I saw it, my memory could be faulty here, but I think it was in a sort of editing suite, so not on a huge screen, and it gave me nightmares. And he came and, you know, I called out for him, and he came and cuddled me. You know, I thought there were sharks swimming around the bed.
Yeah, I didn't go to the toilet after I watched Jaws, let alone go in the ocean.
I know, right?
Okay, time for a few fun questions that I haven't told you about yet. First question, and I hope you don't take this personally considering where we are. Did they need a bigger boat?
Did they need a bigger boat? Yes, of course they needed a bigger boat. Yeah, they needed a bigger boat and more crew. Yeah, they needed the Royal Marines or whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's so lovely the fact that Quint, you know, doesn't want them to, you know, that he wants to get the shark. He wants the revenge. It's such great storytelling, you know, that he's put them in peril that way. But you understand why. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Good answer. Next question. From the victims in Jaws, so Chrissy, Pippet, Alex, the estuary victim, Ben Gardner, and Quint. If you could only save one, who would you save and why?
If I could only save one. Oh, that's hard. But probably the dog, you know, I don't know.
Brilliant. Well, I did a video about Pippet the dog a few years ago, because that's how I spend my weekends. And I actually may have made a discovery that might make you feel a little bit better about Pippet. So there's a scene in Jaws, it's just after the estuary scene, and Michael Brody is being pulled to shore. And there's a shot of Ry Scheider running down the Jaws bridge, and he vaults over it to get to his son.
Right.
If you look in the background of that shot, there's a black Labrador on the bridge. So if I do get the chance to ask Steven Spielberg a question about Jaws, that will be my question.
Was that the dog?
Was that the dog?
Yeah.
Speaking of Steven Spielberg, obviously things have gone pretty well for Steven since Jaws. You know, they've worked out.
He hasn't done badly.
He hasn't done badly. Is Jaws Steven Spielberg's best film?
Yes. Yes, for me, without a shadow of a doubt.
Why do you think that might be?
I think because it's so, and this is just my personal taste. It's so, I have enormous respect for him, obviously, but it's without sentiment. Whereas I think some of the other things he did were just a little bit more sentimental, and I think it really benefits from that.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with someone else, and when we talked about Spielberg post Jaws, it does seem to be his most raw movie in terms of just A to B storytelling, and like you say, it isn't not necessarily overly sentimental. It's not got the happiest of endings because obviously not everyone comes home. So I think, yeah, that might be where we sort of start to see the development of the Spielberg voice, because everything after Jaws was much more, as you say, sentimental, or the sentimentality was a bit more evident.
Yeah, and that's, a lot of people, and people like that, American audiences particularly, I think, do like that. But I preferred this. I mean, for example, in Jurassic Park, which I think is a very good film, John Williams, I don't know whether Spielberg suggested this or whether John suggested this, but the music is reassuring. It's not terrifying. And I think it would be a better film, obviously you'd probably have to raise the age level, if the music was as scary as John Williams's, soundtrack for Jaws.
Well, Spielberg did credit John Williams with sort of 50% of the success of Jaws.
Well, I mean, it's a huge part of it, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's massive.
Yeah.
Last controversial / fun question. Everything that happened in Jaws, you can point fingers at various people, but there's one question that remains for me, and I still don't have an answer. I'm really hoping you can help me with this. How is Mayor Vaughn still the mayor in Jaws 2? How did that happen, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, how did Donald Trump get elected the second time? Yeah, it's that's politics, isn't it? It's not always fair.
Ian, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for taking time out
My
between
pleasure.
performances. Before we go, I have one final question.
Yeah.
What is the legacy of Jaws? Why are we still sitting here 50 years later talking about a movie that's apparently about a fish?
I mean, I talk to a lot of people at the door who are Jaws fans, and I have done it in New York, in London, in Toronto, and they really feel so affectionate towards the film. They really feel they love the film. It's because it's an exquisitely crafted piece of entertainment, and I mean, beautifully done, all aspects. I think the editing, the art design, the acting, the direction, the cinematography, the music, the editing, as we've said, came together in this perfect storm to create this thing that, people watch and rewatch and rewatch. And I guess, we live in a world that's not the easiest world to live in. There's a lot of awful things happening, a lot of tragedy, and it's just not to be underestimated how lovely it is to watch a movie as good as that.
Perfect. Ian, thank you so much for your
My
time.
pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. I'll drink to your legs.
Drink to your legs. Cheers.
Okay, guys, I think we've got it. That's amazing. Ian, thank you so much. That's it for today's deep dive into Jaws, the film that turned beaches into no-swim zones and created the summer blockbuster. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to follow, rate and review. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, just when you thought it was safe to stop listening, there's plenty more episodes to come. Thanks again to Stern Pinball for making this episode possible. Please be sure to check out the work of Minorities and Shark Sciences and also the Tourettes Association of America. That's it for now, guys, but I'll catch you next time. I'll drink to your legs.